Greetings, friends. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with a new episode of Random Encounters, the show where I use random encounter tables, like the kind you find in tabletop role playing games, such as Dungeons and Dragons, and I use them together with input from folks in the live chat room to mix up, to randomly generate. It's not like I've been doing this for 2 years, right? To randomly generate a who and a what and mash them together, and then I make a cartoon based out of that. While you're watching, while I talk to you about what I'm thinking, how I'm thinking, answer questions you've got, and just babble on about the state of the world. Hello, Chris Andrew. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Um, yeah, uh, that's what I'm doing. And this week, I'm having a little specially themed show because this Saturday is the Academy Awards. It's Oscar time, and I'm a big movie fan. Um, haven't watched a lot of the movies that are up for Oscars this year, though I've heard good things about a bunch of them. I just haven't seen that many movies this year. I used to be a go to the movies all the time kind of guy, um, but life has changed. Uh, not working in a lot of that was off, organized through office and people being around each other saying, "Hey, let's go to the movies." And now we're all kind of separate, and getting everyone to want to go out at the same time on the same night is a little harder. Then there's also the fact that just in general, here in our post-pandemic world, going to the movies is just less of a thing for a lot of people. So not as much movie going in my life, and I'm kind of think that's a shame. On the other hand, there's been kind of a dearth of movies that I really would have been excited about. Don't know what's going on with that. Oh well. But I still watch a bunch, like everyone. I watch a bunch streaming here and there. I watch clips. I'm up on the what's going on. I just haven't seen a lot of the movies. So the movies that I picked for this, all of this is to say that the movies that I picked for the encounter tables today are classic Oscar movies. I believe they are all Best Picture winners from the past. If not, there certainly are movies that were up for Best Picture. I think they're all winners, um, and are considered classics. You'll see in a second when I show you our encounter tables for the evening. We need to randomly generate. We need to randomly generate cartoons to draw tonight. The world depends on it. Do do do. Yes, Chris, you clearly get what I'm driving at. All right. So, hello, Michael Pastor. Welcome, welcome. Glad you could join us also. I've done my rambling. Now I'm going to have a little sip on my Diet Coke to start things off. And I'm going to grab my iPad Pro. I do all my drawing here on an iPad Pro using an Apple Pencil and the app Procreate. None of which are sponsors. In fact, I have no sponsors currently. So, potential sponsors out there, I'm open. I'm open and ready to wear someone's patch on my jersey. All right, let's see. I'm gonna switch things around here and open it up, and then I can switch the view here so you all can see with me. These are our Oscar special encounter tables. So we got Casablanca, Sound of Music, Rocky, and Titanic are the movies that I put up for potential drawing tonight. And as always, we'll figure out which ones we're drawing by using a die roller. I'm going to roll this D4 a few times to find out. So our first who is a 3, and our first what is a 4. So we come back, and that means that it is an Owlbear Titanic. Owlbear Titanic is our mashup. So let's turn off the encounter tables. We're in round 1. Let's see, I want to make sure I've got a blue pencil line to sketch. And then Owlbear Titanic. So I think that Titanic, the classic scene, has got to be up on the railing scene, right? I mean, that's it. This may not be the. I may want to pull that down a little, but the scene is, Jack is holding um God, I can't remember Kate Winslet's char- character's name. So, and oh, I can fly, I can fly. Uh, and it would say Titanic over there. Now let's bring that a little closer in. I could do that. Just zoom in super tight and do another sketch. I could also do it a little more to the side there. In fact, this is what I think I'm gonna do. I probably want to come at it from the other side, though. So when you're doing a cartoon, you want to think about how your audience is going to read it, and that means that they're going to read it from left to right. So right now, the idea I've got is they're up here standing, doing their classic pose, but that there's an owl bear menacing them. So rather than it being a big free moment, there's an owl bear. But what I really want for this is, since the eye is reading it this way, I want them to get here first and the owl bear second. So what I want to do is modify that so that they're up here and our owl bear is over here. That's what I want. So let's clear this whole thing out entirely. I'm thinking I want to come in here, delete that, then I can grab this and make it bigger rather than redrawing it. So that's about what I want layout wise. And I want to make those a little lighter so I can draw over them. So here's another thing you can do. I've drawn this out, but it's too dark. There are a couple of things I could do. I could lighten it up and put a new layer above it, or I'm going to alpha lock this and find a lighter blue and just fill that layer so that all of that got much lighter. And go back to my regular sketch. All right, so we've got for a layout, we know we've got to remember to turn off the alpha lock. We've got the ship here like this. We're going to have the Titanic, it's going to say on the side. We're going to have the railings going away like that. And then here, we're going to have two characters. She's going to have her arms out like that. Rose is her name, I forgot. I couldn't remember earlier, now I remember. Then he's going to be behind her. And then we're going to have a big owlbear back here. All right, I can see that. It's a little hard to see the, but I think that works. All right. That's a little weird, but let's do it. Let's go with it. Again, this is a quick sketch idea, right? Uh, I never want to give the idea that in these quick half-hour sketches that we're doing anything that is that's should live or die, right? That we should have anything that is actually finished and worth uh, defending as our great people. These are ideas we're getting down. Is really what I'm saying. So every time I do something and I find myself worrying over little details, I have to remind myself that just let it go. Just get it down on paper. I was doing a drawing a little earlier today, a very quick drawing also. I was watching my friends from Green Ronin Publishing. They have a show on Thursday afternoons called um, uh, uh, wow. They have a show. It's called Thursday Age. It's about their age system, their adventure game engine system, and I like watching that show. And when they do something, very often they'll say to something or do something that uh, sparks a cartoon idea in me. And when they do, I I will try to draw it very quickly and get it to them so that they can show it during the live stream. So that it's clear I could not have thought of this. I couldn't have gotten this prepared ahead of time. It's something that they've done on air, and I was doing one today, and those are other things that I finish them or I get halfway through and I'm like, oh no, that's not right. I want to fiddle with it. I want to make that's not good enough, and then I realize no, if I make it good enough, there's no way in heck I'm going to finish it in time for them to put it on. Like I've just got to be okay with the imperfect version. And the truth of the matter is that never in all the time I've doing it has anyone either, certainly not anyone involved with hosting the show, but none of the fans watching the show have ever said anything about, wow, well that drawing's not actually right. It shouldn't be like that, right? You got this detail wrong or that detail wrong, because you know. Well, I don't. I guess I don't want to say it because doesn't matter. They just never have. They just appreciate the thing, the cartoon, right? It if it communicates the idea well, whether or not it's 100% right doesn't matter. They're happy with the imperfect execution, and in anything that you're doing on this kind of quick time scale, you should be too. Just let the sketch be the sketch. Like there, another way to look at this, or another important way to remember this, is when I do something here. Sometimes I will come up with ideas that I think are very good. Pat myself on the back. and what I do then is I go back and I redraw it, and I have wound up making um, cartoons and stickers and finished items based on things I've done on this show. But I've always had the time to go back and do the uh, do a reinterpretation, or take the time to do it well and execute it well. But that's not what happens here on the show. This is a quick sketch show, and that's the way it is in my notebooks too. Right, I almost never have anything in one of my notebooks that looks like it could be a finished piece. That's where the ideas come in, and that's what we're doing here. Maybe I went on about that a little too long. I don't know. You tell me. But here we're going to have ourselves an owlbear up and growling at them. And it's, of course, going to say Titanic here on the side of the vessel. And what else? We can show the. We don't have to. I was about to draw it. So, yeah. If I was to do this finished, I would have it. I would make sure that here in the background, I could get a little bit of the ship detail. But right now, with the where it is on the page and what we've got going on, that's a step too far. Now, exactly how to phrase this, I'm not sure. um, Don't let go, Jack. I'll never let go. That's what I think she's me saying. Don't let go, Jack. Now, this, of course, is referring to a later part of the movie, but it doesn't really matter. Now, I'm not sure exactly. Somehow, I got to figure out what. I think he should have a reply here. It's sort of like, I'll never let go, Rose. I mean, maybe it should just be as simple as that. That's kind of what he says in the movie. Or we could bump it up a level because there's an owl bear back there. But having said all that, let's turn off the sketch, look at what we've got, and come back in and add in a few more, clean it up a little, few lines, erase a few of these sketchy marks. Yeah, I think it's just going to be as simple. I'll never let go, Rose. I love this. I love this that tool. I've talked about it a lot. How I can draw a rough circle, and it snaps it, or a rough oval, and it snaps it into a clean oval. All right, I think that's about it. Let's go and do throw some color on here, and we'll be good. I'm gonna switch over to the gloaming brush, so we can do that light marker ish slash uh, crayon-ish coloring. And this is smaller than we usually go. There's a lot more going on, kind of detail wise, in that I made everything pretty small to fit both characters and the owlbear and the ship in on this. Usually my drawings would take up a lot more space. Just trying to remember, he basically wore tan clothing. Titanic is kind of a rusty red. And we'll go with a more orangey tan for our owlbear. Like that, and definitely an orangey beak. Maybe green eyes. I don't know why, but I feel like the owlbear's got green eyes. And here's an interesting thing you can do if you want to put clouds in the sky, but you don't you you know, very often we will draw the clouds on top, right? And uh, but I'm basically doing blue clouds. Make sure that the clouds uh, take up most of the sky. It have to be a mostly cloudy day, but it'll read like the white spaces are the clouds, because again, we're letting our viewers' brains do the work. There we go. That's looking pretty good. I think we're going to call that good. We've got Owlbear and Titanic. Don't let go, Jack. I'll never let go, Rose. Come back to the top layer, to the inking layer, the lines layer. And I'll put Stan down in the corner. And we have ourselves Owlbear, Titanic. Done. All right. Let's see what's going on. Definitely not making room on the floating door frame yet. I have a sinking feeling. Oh, Chris, you're doing it again. This is the strangest bear hug I've ever had. They even let an owl bear on. They don't want to let the Irish in, but they'll let the owl bears on. How did that happen? Oh, Chris. I want to talk to Hans Malware, but I don't know how to break the ice. You're really, you're really, you're really going for it. I like that. Molly Faye, welcome, welcome. Glad you could join us, and I'm glad that you like this. This is our first drawing of the evening. Owlbear and Titanic was the mashup, and I'm gonna get all this set now. I'm gonna undo it. I'm gonna turn off that. I'm gonna turn back on our uh, encounter tables. I'm gonna take one more sip of my soda. And had an owlbear on the Titanic for our first drawing. Let's go find out what our second drawing is. Okay, we're gonna come back and go to the random encounter tables and our die roller, and we're gonna roll it one more time, once or twice. And we're gonna roll a bunch, roll it a bunch, roll it a bunch, and two. Two is our second who, and three. Three is our second what. So we'll come back and see that means a Sahuagin Rocky. Now, when I put this together, I thought it would have been very funny if the Sahuagin and Titanic had come together. And again, I try not to think. I make these ahead of time, and I try not to think too much about it because I want it to be improv. The point of this is all that it's improv. Um, but I had a few Sahuagin. Basically, it probably would have involved Titanic having sunk and still do something with that railway scene. But we don't have that. Now we're going to go to round two and our sketch layer. And a blue pen here. And we've got Rocky and a Sahuagin Rocky. So, I mean, the most iconic idea for Rocky, of course, is him standing at the edge of the steps, jumping up and down. Right. But does that make for the best gag? I don't know. We could also, just doing a Sahuagin doing that is not really that exciting. So I think we're gonna have to try and come up with something else. Sahuagin, of course, I say of course, for those of you that don't know, are basically think creature from the Black Lagoon or some kind of undersea uh, creature, humanoid creature, like that. Maybe the Sahuagin chasing the chicken. Yeah, that's a possibility. Uh, could just be the Sahuagin in with boxing gloves. We'd have red, white, and blue striped boxing gloves. That says Rocky. Have the Sahuagin all beat up. What could the Sahuagin be boxing? Of course, it could just be that Rocky is fighting a Sahuagin. Right? We could have it be Rocky, the human. fighting a Sahuagin. And in fact, I mean, it could be them at the start of the fight, touching gloves, and the ref is saying, "I want a clean fight." Um, that's possible. I don't know why I'm still sketching on that one. What else have we got? Some kind of training, punching training montage. That falls in, I think, to the category that would be um, hard to get in a single drawing. We're trying to do these in about half an hour each. Even in a sketch version, that would be tough to do in a single drawing. Let's see, let's see. Um, thinking. All right, I'm gonna clear this layer. Don't want to think too much. Let's. So right now, I'm thinking that the Rocky versus the Sahuagin is where I'm gonna go. Maybe not. Maybe not the check-in. Maybe I'm having them actually be fighting. Grab that and make it a little smaller so we can get more of it in the frame. You know what? Yeah. Sometimes, this is what happens when we're doing this kind of idea. Sometimes you get an idea for an image that works. Sometimes you get a gag that works. Sometimes the whole thing just is floating around and it turns out to be a big mess. I think this is going to be a mess, but I think we can get an entertaining drawing out of this mess. Or we could spend a lot more time fiddling around with it, which is not what I wanted to. All right. Yeah. Let's go to the lines layer and we'll make it up in the lines. I don't often suggest that. Sometimes you just gotta go with it. And those times especially, we're doing what I always say is start with the things you're most confident in. And I'm really kind of confident in this part of Rocky's face. I wouldn't call this the best Sylvester Stallone caricature ever, but I think that it's gonna, sell just the general Rocky idea. And another thing that'll happen sometimes, I'm already feeling it on this one, is that although I'm not super confident in the joke, I think that the drawing is already something I like. Again, it's to lay into that idea that just sketch it and let it happen, and sometimes uh, they you get Bob Ross used to call happy little accidents. A happy little accident will happen, and I'll tell you right now, I think that drawing of this boxer, whether or not it's supposed to be Stallone, this this drawing is a happy accident. I like how that came out. No matter what else happens, we've got that. Now we got to work on our Sahuagin. They got huge fangs. Kind of think of them as humanoid sharks. I know I said creature from the Black Lagoon. That's the other thing you probably want to think of them as. But they very often have something very shark-like about them. Now here's where my sketch comes in. It's allowing me to decide to. I left that space open because I knew I wanted the punch to be coming through in there. The other guy's uh, boxing glove to be taking up that space. In case you wondered why I kind of half drew the Rocky character, it's what you're in these kind of things. This is what you do: is you sketch it out, and that'll tell you where if if you've got it set up well, it can tell you where you need to leave a little room. Hmm. Now I'm thinking it might have been fun to have this whole thing be underwater, or to have Rocky in like a diving uniform or a scuba uniform, scuba gear or a diving helmet. If I had it to do over again, I might do that. This is really not the. You know what? I like this drawing. I think that I can already tell that in the end, I'm going to come back and look at this and think, is this the best Sahuagin I've drawn? No, it's not even a. I think a especially good Sahuagin, and doesn't the joke doesn't really play off that very well. But the drawing I think is pretty cool. And again, that's what playing around, just doing this kind of thing, just to play around with a visual. Maybe you don't get what you started out thinking you were going to get, but you get something interesting nonetheless. Let's turn off the sketch layer now and look at what we've got. I think I want to clean that up a little. We're going to put some scales on our Sahuagin just to make them look a little fishier. I think that if I had this, if I was starting over or I was trying to do this a little better, I would change something about the way that head shape goes. You know, I'm going to add a new layer on top of it. Put a new layer on top and drop the opacity here so that we can see it. And on this new layer, I think I would want this head to to come in and be more open like this so I could get gills in there. Right? I think I'd do it like that. Again, just thinking. But I'm not. We're not going there. We're not doing that. We're doing this. And we've got ourselves a pretty good. Hmm, pretty good little drawing here. I say there are parts of this I really like. And other parts, well, you know. Okay, let's go and add some color to this. Yo, Adrian, we're having seafood for dinner. That's yes. I was trying to come up with a fish sticks or some kind of gag to go in there. You're thinking more good punny thoughts. All right. So we're on the right layer. Yes, we're on the coloring layer. We're gonna get Rocky in there. I'm doing my very quick shape within a shape kind of idea for the coloring. We need to have the see it was there like that. We want to come in here with that faux black on his hair. And our Sahuagin, naturally enough, is a greenish color. so. With a darker green for the fins and the highlights. His gloves are red. And what color should his shorts be? Should we make them the blue? One of the things in Rocky, that whole red, white, and blue theme, of course, it was a bicentennial theme in Rocky. Um, eh, go. Yeah, I look at this again. I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. I don't. If I judge it by how well this meets the theme we'd set out to do, I don't think I'd give this very high marks. I don't think. I don't think I did a great job of meeting that original idea. On the other hand, by just playing around, I think I've come up with something pretty interesting here, and I'm happy with the drawing we've got. You use yellow on those teeth to just make them look nasty. Again, I know I'm not talking about it. I'm doing the putting some shadowing in by picking a darker version of the color, and this is just quick shadowing. It's not the way shadows really work, but for a cartoon, you can ignore that as long as it feels right. I would say that a lot. Right, and then we're picking the underside of all of our shapes and just putting a little line on them. And then picking one direction that the light is coming from. And that's how we choose what is an underside. Something that's at the far. So if the light, for Rocky, I'm thinking the light is coming from here. So I'm picking that area and that area, this side of the neck. Um, I got it wrong down here. Those that really should be over there. But it doesn't, I don't know if you notice that, and that's another point to bring up. Why it's okay to do it this loosely is, as I often will say, if it doesn't look flat out wrong, your audience is going to be forgiving. And that's your goal, is to do things not necessarily right, but not wrong enough that your audience looks at it and says, hey, that ain't right. Here we go. And I'm going to come back to the light blue so it feels like that sweat being knocked off. And I don't think I don't think there's any words that need to be put in here. I think we got it. Hello, Raven Lord. Thank you for dropping in tonight. There we have Sahuagin versus Rocky. Come back here and put a stand in the corner. Now you got Rocky 35, the Atlantis. The I don't know. Chicken of the Sea. Hey, Dale. Dale Donovan, thank you for stopping in, my friend. We are now wrapping up our second drawing of the evening here with our Oscar themed um, picks were Sahuagin and Rocky. For those of you who've come in late, I will share with you also that our first one was Owlbear and Titanic. So that's how the evening has gone so far. Are you guys gonna watch the Oscars? Are you Oscar watchers? Um, tell you just the over the years, there have been times when I watch the Oscars every year. Um, it's been a while since that was the case, but I used to go when I was living down in San Diego. I had a friend who was a movie critic, and he used to host an Oscar party that we would all go to. A lot of his friends were critics and some game folks, and it was a fun time. It's very interesting conversations at that party. Um, and he would always actually make a mix tape, a mix CD for folks with music from all of the nominated scores, which I always rather enjoyed. Um, Oscar Oscar shows have been weird over the years. It was a period where they were very glitzy and a lot of entertainment, and it kind of felt worthwhile to watch it for 3 hours. Well, 2 hours anyway. By the time the third hour rolled around, everyone's like, "Come on!" But they when they started getting bigger name comedians to headline it and started making the entertainment up front, I don't know. It seems like so the Oscar ceremonies have kind of fallen into this uh, mid-range where they don't do any of the things that they're supposed to do well. They're not especially entertaining as just as a show. They aren't really focused on the movie world, on the moviness of it, and it just kind of seemed to throw a lot of everything. It's much of muchness that is well, pretty boring. So Dale says we used to be able to see many or most of the movies. Yeah, that changes my relationship to any Oscar ceremony too. If I've seen most of the movies, I have a for every category I've got opinions. And as I said, kind of at the top of the show, I haven't seen a lot of them, so it's all a little um, disconnected from me. But I still love the fact that it exists, and I like doing things like this, celebrating um, classic movies. Hard for me to think of Rocky as a classic movie since it's something from that came out during my teenage years, but here we are. That was 40 plus years ago. Okay. Whew. We have our Rocky and Sahuagin. We had our Owlbear and Titanic. Let's do one more. So I've got to turn off round 2 and turn on round 3. Set the brush to the right brush and the right color. Turn back on our encounter tables. Rub my chin. And have a little sip of water this time. Blah, 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 blah. You ready? You guys ready? You ready out there? Scratch my nose. Okay, let's do it. 2 drawings down. We've had Owlbear and Titanic. We had Sahuagin and Rocky. Let's go back to the dice and see what we get for our 3rd random encounter of the evening. So we're going to roll the dice a whole bunch. Roll them, roll them, roll them. And we got a 2. Wasn't Sahuagin 2? I don't know. Let's see what we get. 2 and 3. I think we just got a repeat. A full-on repeat. 2 is Sahuagin and 3 is Rocky. That's exactly what we had last time. All right, I'm going to go roll a little more, but you guys start thinking, and I'll come to you. You can suggest things, maybe even suggest things that aren't on that list. But keep it Oscar related or movie related. All right, come on, roll them around, and we've got a 4, and we've got a 2. So if we go with that, that is a zombie Sound of Music. All right, but you know what? I am going to, because I'm a magnanimous Stan, and we're running a little early on my usual clock. If you guys have something to suggest, lay it on me. Let me have it. What would you like to see for our 3rd and final Oscar encounter of the evening? It could include these, like we had dragon and zombie left on, but you could pick another creature, and with Sound of Music and Casablanca left, but you can pick another movie. What do you think? I tell you one thing. I am starting to look at some conventions I'm going to next year. I'm not really don't have any plans for this year, but I'm starting to look at January and early next year, and I'm looking at um, doing some things, like doing a live version of this, which is more hopefully uh, instead of doing as much with the encounter tables, it'll be like an improv show and taking suggestions from the audience. So you guys can help me get ready for that by throwing out some suggestions here. And I'm killing time because I know we've got a lag because we're online. I'm killing time to see if you guys have anything to throw out at me. Otherwise, I'm doing a zombie Sound of Music. Or maybe you like that idea and you just want to say, yes, Stan, do the zombie Sound of Music. Yeah. So in January of next year, I will be in Philadelphia for the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo. I've been talking to them about that. Actually, in October of this year, I'm going to be back in Madison for Gamehole Con again. So I might be doing one of these things there. I'm going to suggest it to them. I don't know if they will want to put that on the schedule. They don't have a really big lineup um, of seminars. That's not true. They do have a big lineup, but they only have one stage. So they want to make sure everything they put on is the right thing, and whether or not that is, not for me to decide. All right, given what we've got here in the comments, it seems like Zombie Sound of Music is where I'm going, and so that's what I'm going to do. Turn off the encounter tables. We're going to come over here, and we got Sound of Music. Now I could have so Sound of Music. The iconic image is Julie Andrews walking through the hills singing, or sometimes, depending on what you see, it's her running with a guitar case and her luggage, and usually a big hat. Um, I like the first one better. The second one is really very much dependent on getting the details right to to make it clear that it's the Sound of Music. Uh, we have her walking through right on the hills with the Alps behind, like that. I would, let's see, I want to grab her here, make her a little bigger in the frame. And I want to grab, sorry, going off screen, you can't see it. Just wanted to pull up. I have a couple little references, and she's got a little a page boy kind of short blonde hair there. But we can change it so that she's screaming, and we've got zombies popping up here in the grass. And she can be screaming, "The hills are undead." Here we go. Lich gone with the wind. Too late, Dale. Too slow. Sorry. The hills are undead. That's where I'm going here. All right, that's sketchy. That'll do. Let's go in and put that in. We go to the lines layer, and where am I going to start that I'm most confident in? Her eyes, actually. I think that's her expression is what's going to sell this as a joke. And I don't want to really worry too much about getting the details specific, but I want to get it close enough that it feels right. She usually she's there with her arms thrown wide like this, and instead I want her have her arms out like she's like in terror, but it has to still feel like it's comes from the same position. And then I'm gonna have some zombies popping up out of the grass. I suppose if I wanted to get really into detail, again, if I was going to think of ways to do this even better, I would go back and do some research on some uh, zombie Nazi paraphernalia. What else? What other way might you want to, if you were going to do a Sound of Music story of my life? Says Dale. Yeah, well, we still love you. Um, how might you capture Sound of Music and zombies or some other classic? What other classic films? And I'm not going to do them. We're doing three and we're done for the evening. But if we were going to do more, we've already got Lich Gone with the Wind. I'm trying to think of a way to make that smoother. Uh, which now I'm trying to think of puns, and that has me going to things like the Liches of Eastwick, which I'm not sure. Which sounds funny, but I can't think of a good uh, cartoon that comes out of that. And then I think I'm going to. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Turning off the sketch. I know the mountains have disappeared, but that's all right. I've got an idea. Got a little extra time, and I have an idea. The Liches of Eastwick. It sounds funny, But then maybe there's a topic for the chat room to discuss. What I certainly have seen Witches of Eastwick. There's a lot to make fun of there, but I can't think of how, as a if that was a title we were working with, what would you draw? What kind of cartoon could we do to make Liches of Eastwick a funny improv comic? All right, I'm going to go to the colors. I'm going to switch over here. I'm going to hit poor old Julie Andrews. The Sound of Music as directed by George Romero. The Liches of Eastwick, I think about it. I think that that's the kind of thing that would make up a story to go with it. That might be a fun thing to do a comic for, like maybe very much in the Mad Magazine mold of movie spoofs. What could we do to make Liches of Eastwick a funny haha in more than just it sounds funny? That sounds like it would be funny. How would it actually be funny? Yes, I'll give them brown shirts since I can't give them full on Nazi. I guess I could, but I'm not gonna go to the trouble to go for full Nazi regalia. I will give them brown shirts, and we'll all know what that means. Okay, now what I was gonna turn that sketch layer back on so I can see our mountains, and I'm gonna come back in, and I want to go for that's too dark. All right, so I'm gonna go to a new layer. Here's what I wanted to. I was gonna do. I'm gonna put a layer below what we've worked at, and because now I can put it in and I can easily erase it where it overlaps what I want. I'm going to put those in, and then I'm going to go back to my drawing brush, and I'm going to pick a blue, and we're going to draw in our mountains in that color. I know that the Alps in Sound of Music are snow covered, but that's a little harder to do in these quick drawings. All right. And then we can Go for an even lighter blue. Back to our glowing brush. Lighter than that. And now I turn off our sketch. What do we got? Yeah, that's working pretty good. I'd, I'd say that certainly says Sound of Music to me. Or it certainly references Sound of Music to me. What do you think? Yeah, I think we got it. I think that's going to be it. So I will come back and put my inking brush back on. Come back to my lines layer. And we'll put a stand down in the corner. And we've got zombies and Sound of Music. And there's 3 drawings. There's 3 Oscar drawings. What did I have left? I had left dragons and dragon and Casablanca. Dragons and Casablanca. Do I want to dive in and do a 4th drawing? Just because I'm a little early tonight? Can't. Uh, I, if it had dragons and Titanic, I probably would have had the ship up and the dragon sitting on the back going, "Did I do that?" Again, not a great idea, but that's the first thing that pops into my head. I don't know. Anyway, said I wanted to see the Alps, not the scalps. Dragon Rick in a trench coat. You know what? Let's fool around a little. We've got some. Uh, we always have as much time as we want, but I try and keep this to about an hour and a half. So let's fool around a little, see what we get. Studio pen blue. We're on the 4th. Get 4th round 4, right? So the classic uh, image is Rick in his trench coat and Ilsa in her traveling hat, looking up at each other like that. You know, the "here's looking at you, kid." So if we're going to take that, let's take that and shrink it up and put it there, just as a rough reference. So if I wanted to do a dragons, I always start with a triangular head as the basis. And either the hat's going to go up here or the hat's going to come down here. I think the hat's down here. And maybe in his claw, he's got a little Ilsa, and he's reaching up and saying, "Here's looking at you, kid." Got a cigarette in his mouth. Why? Because that's everyone's smoking in Casablanca. Right? Here's looking at you, kid. I mean, something like that. There's one take. Again, let me grab that and move it up on the screen. Shrink it down. What else might we do? Dragon in Casablanca. Um, I don't. Again, I don't know how good an idea this is, but here we go. I'm gonna do this. Tell me if you get an idea of what I'm doing here. I bet you do. It's not that hard to guess. We'll always have water deep. That's I'm not loving how that's coming out there. Give me a big thing. I want a big eraser. I want to erase that quickly out of there entirely. My thought here is a play it again, Sam. Like I said, play it again. Of course, we all know the trivia that "play it again, Sam" was never said in the movie, but that doesn't really matter, particularly for a goofy thing like this. I said, "Play it again." Like so. Something like that. Oh well. Tell you what, this is one of those things that I'm not gonna show the every week after we finish this, I put the drawings up on my social media among and other places. I'm not gonna put these sketches up. This is just for us. This is like the super secret. Cool kids showed up. You were here for the live show, so you got to see the band play something they never play on. They never put on an album. This is the only at the live show material. There we go. That's what I'm saying. We're done. Bonus content. There you go. Bonus content. All right, let's take that off the screen. Get a good look at it. That's your bonus content right there, my friends. Maybe never to be seen again. Let's have another sip, and then I'll do an outro, and we can go about our weekend ways. Oh, come on. Don't do me that way. Sound of Music with Zombies. That was our third drawing. Our second drawing was Sahuagin and Rocky. And our first drawing was Owlbear on the Titanic. That was our Oscar special, celebrating some of the great movies and great D&D creatures, and having a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining me. Chris Andrew, Dale Donovan, Michael Pastor, everyone else who's been in the chat and around. I know Ravenlore was here for a while. Someone else whose name I'm not remembering. I know we've had other people watching live. And if you're watching on replay, well, thanks to you too. Really appreciate you being here. I'm going to switch back over so that's gone. We are done for the evening. I'm getting ready to not watch the Oscars on Sunday, but, look forward to finding out. I'll watch the clips on YouTube on Monday morning. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I had a lot of fun, as I always do. Fun hanging out with you, fun chatting, and doing some improv drawing. I hope maybe you were doing a little doodling of your own. Were you? Were you? Maybe not. But I encourage you to. Drawing is fun. That's what this show is all about. That's what I'm trying to encourage. And I hope you'll grab your favorite pen and paper, maybe while you're watching the Oscars or something else. Just doodle what comes up. We spent some time tonight talking about generating ideas off the cuff. So maybe you want to do that on your own. Just forget about Oscars or drawing what you see. Just come up with weird ideas and do little sketches that don't have to be finished. They're just stick figures or blocks uh, um, where you write on the side of it. This is a tank. It's just a square, but you write tank, so it's a tank or whatever. whatever. This is a guitar case. It looks like a sausage, but it's a guitar case. And come up with some ideas just for the fun of it. Come up with what kind of goofy ideas can you generate. Hmm? Here's a challenge for you. Anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. I always have a good time here on these Thursday night shows. I will be back next Thursday to do some more improv cartooning without a general theme. I think that we're just going to go back to random old stuff. And I hope you'll join me then. Until then, if you're watching, please give this a like, give it a thumbs up, or a heart, or a I love you, or a yay, whatever it is on the platform you're watching. If you're watching this on replay, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a little message. Just leave a comment. Tell me how you found it, how enjoyable it was for you, why you think I'm terrible and I shouldn't do this again. Try and convince me not to come back. Who knows? You may be right. Um, or you could say nice things. I like hearing those too. So until next week, until next time, gentle readers, I wish you all well. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.